Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall called it the hardest session during his decade in power. The session wrapped today. It was dominated by the budget. There's much ground to cover, so we've brought in our legislative reporter, Stefani Langenegger, to recap the session. Stefani, we can't cover all the things that happened, but what stands out most to you?
Well, of all the budget decisions, probably the biggest, Adam, was shutting down the provincial bus company after nearly 70 years, which is still sparking protests and court action. But a lot of the smaller decisions are still having big ripple effects, including amongst former friends of the government, from mayors to those who run school boards. For instance, cuts to education are still murky. Regina Public School Division said what it would cut, including some preschool programs for kids with special needs, and the education minister said no. So we still don't know exactly what that public school board will do to achieve those cuts, or any of the other school divisions as those roll out. We do know the government has given itself more power to make decisions with regard to schools, thanks to a fairly controversial new law. And speaking of which, the law which allows the government to sell up to half a Crown corporation has also been controversial. We know ministers have been meeting with companies to talk about investing in SGI or SaskTel. And so we'll wait to see what else might come from that. Now, the government did reverse a controversial cut in its budget. That was to libraries. But it says it's not anxious to reverse any other decisions, such as money for funeral services to the poor or grants in lieu payments to those cities. So we'll see if they change their mind on that. But right now they say they don't have a big appetite to make big changes to the budget.
Stefani, what will be the fallout for the government? How much of this tension from this session will last until the next session starts in the fall?
I think a lot of it's going to stick around, Adam. The government has court fights with the bus company that it's shutting down, paying for non-Catholic students to go to separate schools, and of course now the federal carbon tax. None of those issues are going to go away, and the province needs to negotiate a new contract with its teachers, yet somehow find that 3.5% cut to their compensation that it's ordered for all civil servants. And we need to see where some of these issues end up. For instance, school divisions dealing with those budget cuts, health regions dealing with their budget cuts. So lots of stories to track, even as the legislature takes its summer break before politicians get back at it in October.
Thanks for this, Stefani. The CBC's Stefani Langenegger reporting from our newsroom.